Hi everyone, welcome back to Silver Hill. It's been a little while since my last video, but there's been a lot going on. And in this video, I just want to talk a lot about, or think a little bit about how when we lose loved ones, how they still stay with us even after they've been gone for many years. My father, he died when he was 87 years old, and he died in 21, so that would have been about 5 years ago this coming August. And the funny thing is, there's times when really, I didn't live near close to home. I lived about 2.5 hours from my parents' home. My mom, she's still living as of this video, but she has dementia, so she's here and she's not. So if you are someone who has a loved one who has dementia, you'll know what I mean. You love them and you see parts of them every now and then, little glimpses, and it's just a part of who they are now. But they really have little callback to who they were and who they were maybe to you. So my dad, though, on the other hand, was not like that. Yeah, he died of a heart attack, stroke, whatever. He had them into his 50s, but like I said, he lived to 87, so that's pretty good. And he had to have eventually a pacemaker defibrillator put in, and that kept him going for a long time. He's a very active man. He was outdoors a lot. He, as my mom said when he died, he loved life. You know, she sobbed, and that's one of the things I will remember always, is that she said, he loved life, and he just did. He was he did many things very well. He was someone who spent a lot of time growing up outdoors, being familiar with farm work and nature. That wasn't his greatest love, though. He was more attracted to things like mechanics and machinery and basically driving machines and fixing them. So most of his life went that way. But as a person, he was always very energetic, youthful-minded. When kids came over, you know, when my kids were young and they came over to visit, or we visited them, he was the type of grandparent that would get down on the floor and, play right along with them, and also watch TV shows. You know, they're fun shows we'd all watch together. So he was that kind of a guy. He didn't just sort of sit up in a chair, and I know some people do, and they have to because that's their health. But Dad was very fortunate. He was blessed with, aside from his heart issues and some other things that happened to all of us, he was always very energetic and very healthful and alert, I think, right up to the last couple of weeks. And the one thing, though, you'll find, and I don't know if you'll find it the same as me, and it's not just that I look at photos. I mean, sometimes I'm coming across photos and I have things that will remind me. I have a picture of my dad with him when he was young on one of my my desk where I work, and above it, and it shows him with the Hawaiian guitar. See, he loved music. Mom and him both played the guitars. Dad would play just about anything. He really would. Sometimes he would go around and tune pianos for churches. They played in churches. They did gospel music and that sort of thing. They were always both very active. And Dad was the type of person, he couldn't really sit still. You know, like when my uncles were watching the football game, he'd say to my mom, let's go for a walk. So he was, when he's in older years. So this is the kind of man he was. Now, what I'm finding, and I don't know if you have had experienced the same, but it's kind of like they say, they never really leave you. I'm not a real big believer in spiritual woo-woo things that we can't see. I'm kind of at that stage in my life where I want to believe what I see and not jump to conclusions without the actual facts. I mean, yes, I can see how people feel that there are spirits and our loved ones are with us spiritually, and maybe somehow they are. I mean, this is a big universe. We just don't know. But I really believe it's our brains, and it's how we've stored up memories and just knowing their body emotions, their way of speaking, their way of holding their body, their way of walking, their way of talking, maybe sneezing. In my dad's case, seemed like he was always blowing his nose. So you could look out in the yard, and there he'd be with his coveralls, and funny thought is, and be blowing his nose. Funny thought is when we went and cleaned out their house after he passed away, and Mom had to move out because I said she had dementia, she couldn't look after herself. Well, Dad's coveralls were just, his pockets were full of Kleenex. I mean, stuff like that. It's just, you just say to yourself, wow, where do they go? And they seem like they're still really, really with you. This is the thing. This is the thing. It's like, just, yeah, I say their mannerisms, their emotions, their thoughts, how they would answer you, their little habits. They don't go away. It's been 5 years, and my father, he didn't really talk that much about his father, but I do remember when my granddad passed away, and wanting to see him in the casket and touch him when I was just probably 11, 12 years old then, when my granddad died. And I didn't really do that. I didn't have the courage at the time, and it's just an idea I had in my head, that this is what I would do, but it never really came into being. But my point is that he never really talked a lot about his father, like in that way, that I never got that impression that he had his father with him. Although I can see, this is what's funny, is when you look at a family, it's kind of sad that we break up, and a lot of families break up and get angry and at each other's. I have a brother, and I can see my dad and my brother. I can see my dad in me, and I can see his father in him. So we're all really, really quite closely tied, and we think we're not. We think we're really different. And I even think now, as I look in the mirror, and I'm starting to see my dad. When I looked at him, I'm like, oh my God, I look like my father, And as you get older, you can see that you're basically, it's just like being an infant again. You go back to very basic skeletal, physical looking form, and you may have the same eyebrows, nose, chin, whatever. And it's just like that carries on down through the generation. So I'm quite sure, in my case, being a Cameron, going back in more the Celtic Scottish roots, it's probably, if we were to go way, way back, some of my relatives, early Scots and stuff, would probably look and act like me, my dad, my brother. There'd be some little echoes of continuity there, But I guess I just wanted to talk about and use a little bit about how they're always really with you, how it's like they never really go away. And my dad is there all the time. And yes, for the longest time, I mean, the sorrow part of it does get a little better, You're not weeping inside as much. You accept that life is this cycle, and you're born and you have to die. And like many people said, he had 87 years, and most of them healthy ones, not many in the hospital, and there's a lot of people don't get that. But at the same time, that leaves a lot of room for an impact on a person's life, their opinions, their views, things they did and said, and, favorite TV shows, whatever. Like I said, my dad was a mechanic. He was always helping me out, and I was helping him fix out his vehicles and whatever. And mostly I learned a lot from him. We built a house together, as you've seen in other videos. It was a nice house too, and that was quite a story, having to leave that. But it's just that the very thing, I don't know if you find this, is like, I don't know, my dad hasn't really left me. Like, I see him in everything sometimes. There's moments like that, like, I used to call up, and it's just so odd not hearing his voice on the phone, although I do have a recording of him, a couple of recordings talking, which I haven't listened to in a while. But yeah, I don't know. You just tell me what you think. Do you find it's really like that? It's like it's like they don't really leave you. It's like every little thing, you know, it's like they're still somehow with you. And a lot of it is memories, and a lot of it's just being used to their ways. Um, yeah, I know I don't really know how much more to say about that, but I guess the best thing you can do is have some comfort in that they are, in some way, whether you see it as a spiritual thing or just bouncing around on the brain cells that we have, because our brains are quite amazing. They do quite a bit. They make us see things that aren't there. They make us believe in things that aren't there sometimes, and that's what makes horror movies so great. You know, if done right, or you know, we get afraid of things that aren't real, or we're listening to a poem or a piece of music that's so beautiful it lifts us up. The brain can really do a lot. But it's amazing. It's amazing how the ones we love, even when they pass on, it's very sad. I can't call him and talk to him. You know, he'd often ask me, you know, like, how's your painting going? Because I do paintings and stuff. And, you know, it's just bizarre. It's weird. Life is weird. And I often say, sometimes I still talk. Do you talk to your dead loved ones? Do you talk to them in a sense as if they could hear you? I still do. You know, I still do. I still, once in a while, I'll actually say it out loud if I'm alone. I'll say, "Oh, Dad, you wouldn't, you know, you'd find this funny." Or, "Wow, we're in a real spot now. We can't get that bolt loose on that engine. It won't come out. What are we gonna do?" You know, and it's just wow, just wow. Well, I hope I haven't brought too many memories back for you that will, and then even in my own case, rob us of sleep tonight. But I hope you do have good memories, and of the ones you love that you no longer are in physical contact with. The other thing is like they say, life is very, very short. And if you're younger and you're watching this and you've got parents, loved ones, brothers, siblings, someone you can reach out to, let them know you respect them. Let them know, if you do, let them know that they're in your heart. Okay, that's it for this video. And you guys have a good one, and good memories to you. Okay, check you in the next one. Bye-bye.